Forget gurus. Forget anyone claiming to be an online business expert without going through the challenges of entrepreneurship themselves. The Real Money, Real Business podcast is here to prove the best insights in online business comes from your fellow online business builders. We dig into stories of entrepreneurs selling their business on the Empire Flippers marketplace so that you can learn how they made their business profitable, how they overcame obstacles, and what lessons they learned in their online journey. If you want to take your business and your knowledge to the next level, you've come to the right podcast. Let's get started.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Real Money, Real Business podcast. My name is Vinny, and I'm joined with today's guest, Ryan. He's selling his Amazon Associates business on the Empire Flippers marketplace. Welcome to the show, Ryan. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you, mate. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's our pleasure. Looking forward to talking about your business. Just before we talk more about it and find out more about you, let me just give our listeners a very brief summary. So today's listing is an Amazon Associates and display advertising business in the equipment and home niches, created in April 2017. The average monthly revenue for the business is $1,342, and it makes an average of $1,300 per month in net profit. The assets included in the sale are the domain and all of the site's contents and files, an email list with 850 subscribers that's hosted on MailerLite, and social media accounts. You can head over to empireflippers.com/marketplace and search for listing 51779 to learn more about the business. If you want to start your due diligence, just remember to unlock the listing first. Now that we've given a very general overview about the business, let's just find out a bit more about you, Ryan. Can you tell me about your background in building or running online businesses before you started this one?
Yeah, sure. So my background started back in around 2009. I started as an apprentice for a reasonably large e-commerce company in the UK. I spent a few years with them working up the ranks and then changed jobs and went into more of an e-commerce sort of managerial role, really. So I was managing the team and the SEOs, the new apprentices, as well as a lot of the marketing budgets, AdWords, SEO, agencies that we worked with, and all of that sort of thing. And then sort of left that and then started my own web design agency. So I've got quite a long web design background behind me. And I've done that for around 6 years, I suppose. I was working full time and doing it on the side as well. Sort of clicked with affiliate, struggled to get into it for a few years, mainly because I didn't have the budget for it. But then finally I found an investor on one site, and that kind of got me into the industry. I've been in it for the last 5 years, I believe, and here I am today.
Yeah, I mean, 2009, you're kind of an OG in the industry, really. That's quite a long time.
Yes, I wouldn't call myself an OG.
It's a long time for online businesses, for sure. Along your journey then, let's just talk about with affiliate sites and Amazon Associates especially. Were there any specific resources or communities that you just found that were really useful as you were learning about it?
A lot of it was trial and error, to be honest. I mean, I learned about SEO, I guess, from working in e-commerce, especially as an apprentice, because I was paid to try and figure out SEO. This was back in the days when it was still reasonably new and quite as strict as it is today. I was sort of tasked with ranking some specific product pages or categories. And then I kind of just clicked in my head, why can't I just do this for myself? So I'd started looking into affiliate marketing, and then you'd come across the YouTube channels, the Ahrefs blog, the Neil Patel stuff that obviously I don't really read anymore. I wouldn't say anyone in particular influenced me, other than the price that some of the sites were selling for really gave me a push to concentrate and realize that I could make it a full-time career and not have to work full-time as well.
I think you've sort of touched on a couple of these elements. I was going to ask you this question, but I wanted to ask you, why do you think that affiliate sites are great for people who are just getting started with online businesses and, want to buy one?
It's mainly the freedom that done it for us. I mean, I run 9 sites between me and my girlfriend, and we always wanted to travel. Having an affiliate site took the time zone issues out of the way. It took the working hours out of the way. And it completely freed us up, so we could work a whole week flat out if we wanted to, and then we could take a week off to travel to a new country or do whatever we wanted to do. So having a site that doesn't need constant attention, and you don't need to answer customer inquiries, you don't need to deal with returns, you don't have to get back to clients. It's just the perfect model if you want the freedom and flexibility to work from whenever.
For sure, definitely makes sense. I think a lot of people in our industry share the same sentiment, to be quite honest with you. I think ticks a lot of those boxes of not being confined to the four walls of an office cubicle and the working hours as well, especially. You mentioned you've got quite a number of sites under your belt, but what gave you the inspiration to start this one in particular, in these niches?
This one in particular is a bit of a weird, bit of a random coincidence, I guess. During my second job as an e-commerce manager, I worked for an e-commerce company that sold these particular products. And through working with them for sort of 3 or 4 years, spending a lot of time with the engineers that repaired them, doing a lot of the sales and marketing behind the whole business strategy online, I knew the product inside out in the end, and reasonably high value product. And it just made sense. I knew something about these products. There's an Amazon affiliate program that can work with me. So it was a bit of a no-brainer, really.
Right, makes sense. You've obviously grown it, you've managed to scale it, and it's profitable. But our listeners will be wondering why you're selling the business right now instead of keeping it or growing it.
Well, as I said, we've got 9, I think it's 9 sites, could be even more than that now. I struggle to keep track, to be honest. We obviously got hit with Amazon commission reductions back at the beginning of the pandemic. And we need to try and fund 9 sites at a time. And we're just spread too thin that we're not really making traction on any particular site. So we've just come to the conclusion that we need to sell a couple to give us the capital to be able to invest properly in the others. And we pretty much just threw names in the hat. And this come out as one of the best to sell. It's on a good uptrend, which makes it, appealing to buyers. And it's one that we've had our fun with. I know the industry well. I'm a little bit sick of it, if I'm honest, after working in it and then starting a site on it. So yeah, it just seemed the right decision to be the one picked.
Yeah, that makes sense. I guess it's just sort of time and season for all things, and kind of sounds like your motivation and interest in this one in particular might have waned, and it's probably reached the end of the road. So yeah, that makes sense. I just want to ask you then about your experience as you're building this business in particular, in these niches. Was there anything that you learned that you might be able to apply to future sites of businesses? Anything that just really worked for you?
I guess looking at our portfolio overall, one trend that we have noticed is the more we know about the industry, the better the site grows and the better it survives Google updates. We've always used sort of generalist writers, so no one with a specific skill or experience in any one field. But from the experience of this site, in future, I would likely try and find a writer that has direct experience working in the niche, as Google, from our experience, seems to be able to tell that you do, in fact, understand what you're talking about. So that's my biggest takeaway from this site.
Sure thing. On the other side, was there anything that didn't really give you the ROI that you were hoping for?
To be honest, we've been quite successful with this site. We've not put a huge amount of money into it. I can't think of any failures, to be honest. There's nothing there. Everything's gone to plan. We perhaps haven't focused on it as much as we would have liked or put as much money into it as we could have. But everything we've tried has generally achieved the result we was going for, just perhaps not as quickly or as big as we was hoping for.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Sounds like there's probably some potential growth opportunities there, and we'll touch on that in just a second. I just want to ask you about the marketing side of things. Where does the majority of the traffic come from? Is it mainly organic?
Yeah, it's pretty much, I think it's 93% all Google organic or organic from Bing and Google. I think we get a few referrals from sort of forums out there which cover the niche, but it's certainly not a large percentage.
Yeah, obviously with the nature of organic search as well, it kind of sounds like marketing is pretty much hands off then in that case.
Yeah, it's pretty much leave it go. If you don't want to work on it, it will stay there. And if you want to grow it, then it's got the perfect platform to be built upon.
Yeah. So I guess just to follow up with that, can you describe the type of work that you do on the site for maintenance on maybe a day-to-day or even a weekly basis?
I wouldn't even say it was weekly, to be honest, as we don't actively work on it too much at the moment. Maintenance-wise, everything's set to auto updates. All the plugins look after themselves. All the WordPress core files look after themselves. The host deals with the backups daily. So day-to-day, there really isn't anything you absolutely have to do. The site gets a few, 3 or 4 comments on the posts a week, which you can answer if you want, and you don't have to if you can't be bothered. And that's pretty much it from a maintenance point of view. Obviously, if you're in growth mode, then you have to deal with all the content, the formatting, and things like that. But from week to week, there's probably less than 1 hour a month, if I'm honest.
Yeah. For someone who's not quite familiar with Amazon Associates or the niches, what would you say are some of the things a buyer should be aware of in terms of skills or requirements to brush up on?
There's not too much to know, to be honest. Obviously, you need basic fundamentals of how affiliates work and how SEO works and how websites run in general. But the site is built in quite an easy way that you don't need any specific skills to be able to run it. I could provide a document and you would pretty much have everything you needed to update the site and add new content and affiliate products.
Okay, makes sense. But let's talk about potential opportunities then. I mean, if you did stay with the business, how would you try to grow it?
I would be absolutely hammering the UK market at the minute. Probably seen on the listing if they've unlocked it. Obviously, the UK commissions for Amazon are still at 7% or thereabouts, depending on your sales, unlike the US, which got knocked down to 3%. The UK market obviously isn't quite as big as the US, but with the higher commission, it kind of makes up for it. So in the last 6 months, I've really started to focus on the UK market, and it's starting to show quite quickly. Google seems to really like the UK side of the site, which has all been set up with Ahrefs, so it's all done properly.
Yeah, it sounds like exploring more in the UK demographic sounds like it could be a revenue growth opportunity there.
Yeah, absolutely. I think if you put a bit of money into some sort of UK links and some more UK content, because I haven't even converted the whole site over to the UK yet, you could probably double, triple the revenue within 6 to 12 months, I would estimate, if you put some money into it. Into that.
Yeah, that makes sense. Obviously, all businesses have risks with them. What would you say are some of the biggest risks with this business that a buyer should be aware of?
As with all affiliate sites they're looking at, you're mainly stuck with the Google core updates. And then obviously COVID has really mixed the Amazon commissions up quite a bit, which no one really expected to be happening. They can be avoided if you could find a private retailer. There are quite a few private retailers of this product in the UK and the US that you could potentially strike a deal with, and that would really reduce risk and avoid being completely slapped should Amazon decide to change their commission structures again.
Yeah, definitely makes sense. Last few questions for me, really, Ryan. How much support are you offering buyers?
So I've said I'll give 60 days support by email just because it's a custom site. I say custom site, it's not too custom, but there's a few features you'll need to be shown. So I'll do 60 days email support. If you have any questions, a couple of Skype calls. I'm not really going to set a hard limit on it. I'll help you as much as I can to make it as smooth as possible.
Great to hear. And are you willing to commit to a non-compete?
Yes.
Fantastic. Last question from me then. Put yourself in the shoes of a buyer. Why would you say that this is a business that's worth buying?
It's a reasonably established business. It's got over 2 years of growth behind it, and the trend just keeps going up. It survived all the Google core updates over the last 2 years, which can't be said for a lot of other affiliate sites on the market right now. And it runs itself. You really don't need too much experience in the industry. You don't need too much knowledge of the product itself. And you can just leave it and go on holiday, and it will be there when you get back.
That's great to hear. Is there anything you'd like to share that you think I might have missed?
No, I don't think so, Vinny. That's pretty much covered all my notes.
Fantastic. Ryan, thanks for joining me in today's episode. I hope that your business gets picked up by the right buyer in the very near future.
Perfect. Thank you very much for your time, Vinny.
All right, everyone. Thanks for listening. To learn more and see if this listing has already been sold, head over to empireflippers.com/marketplace and search for listing number 51779. If you're watching this on YouTube, click the link in the description to go straight to the listing. And once you've unlocked the listing, you'll be given everything you need to know about the business. So until next time, enjoy your digital journey.